I'm going to show a very simple perspective issue that keeps coming up in arguments, and I'm going to show here, or actually Critical Think's going to show. Now he's going to give a different excuse for it, but he's going to show how the simple change of elevation will compress the image. You'll have other ways of doing that, like moving away from it, but the whole thing will start to compress, include the side to side will compress as well as top to bottom. But in this instance, the only thing that's going to change is the top to bottom. The lengthwise, the sideways, lengthwise, is not going to change at all.
Gone out and I've done here what is possibly groundbreaking research in the area of refraction. Now, I don't think anybody has done this before. I've never seen it before anyway. This is unique. This is a day of high refraction, and getting a few of those days lately. This ship, this picture is taken from a height of 15 meters, and just by looking at the proportions of the ship, there's already some refraction going on there. But then I take another picture from lower down.
Okay. He calls it a high refraction day, but look at the picture. It's very clear. Refraction is a non-issue. Compression is an issue, but here we go. And he just said this picture right here was taken from 15 meters elevation, where he was at.
Second picture, I haven't showed it yet, but this second picture I will overlay is taken from...
Okay, this is the second picture. Now if you do a screenshot of each one and then just measure from that middle crane, the top of it, to just below the H there on the words on the side, and do it on both pictures, and it's a significant difference. All he did was changed elevation from 15 meters to, he'll say, inches above the water. But notice here how the words are still there, but they're very compressed compared to the previous picture. Notice you can still see the space at the bottom underneath the letters, that little red slice there. It's just compressed, but the whole thing is compressed.
Right a few inches above the water. And I'll run this a little bit slower. Right, let's bring this into the middle, and we'll blink test this one right on the...
And by the way, the length remains the same in both pictures. That doesn't change at all, because the only thing he changed was elevation. He didn't move away, because if he had moved away from it, it would have compressed inward more. It would have shrunk from the sideways views as well as the vertical.
Water, a few inches above the water, and from 15 meters high. Now, the thing to note here is that the sea level appears to rise in relation to the cranes that are higher.
The sea level doesn't rise. When he goes down, his horizon comes closer because he's got a lower angle over the surface compared to when he was 15 meters high. That's the only change in the water. Look at the water right here in this picture. You can see detail on the top of the water, little wavelets or whatever, or you can just see that there's movement on the water. But watch what happens when he goes back to the other one. It looks smooth. That's because he's got a higher elevation, and he's actually seeing at a much further point over the water until he can't see detail anymore.
Out of the water, and they wouldn't be subject to the same amount of refraction as right over the water. So there is compression there. Now we know that there's an earth curve there, so this is actually loomed up over the curve.
No, we don't know there's a curve there. There's no curve. You see everything still there. It's just compressed.
And even if you're not going to believe for religious reasons that there is a curve, then you have some explaining to do. So you need to explain how this can happen when there is no curve. That's definitely compressed. So you're going to have to work out how does that compression happen. So you're going to have to admit that there's refraction. Refraction that causes light to bend down, causing...
Okay, the only explanation is the angle over the surface. It went from 15 meters to inches. You changed the conditions. You changed the depth and distance. So when you're lower, the horizon is actually sooner. You're hitting a point sooner over the water where you no longer have a sufficient angle over the water to see any more detail at the surface. So anything that's moved past that point is going to compress into it.
That to rise up and causing that compression. If you admit that there is that kind of compression and that kind of light bending, then you've destroyed every flat earth argument that's ever gone on about the geometric horizon and the complete total lack of refraction on any of the observations that supposedly prove a flat earth. You always say that the observations don't match a geometric globe. Yes, that's right. We've always said that they don't because of refraction. So you're either going to have to admit that refraction here exists in this demonstration, or you're going to have to come up with something else. Who knows what? I'm sure you'll be...
Well, he just said that your calculations for curvature are incorrect for the most part. But if you add in the miracle of refraction, it's suddenly okay. But take a look at the picture once again. Refraction is a non-issue. It's a very clear picture. Compression is an issue. Compression comes from acute visual angles far away to surfaces.
Creative and come up with some bollock story. A sort of a rough explanation of how